What's up, Street Thugs? Brigg here, and we're going to go over an actual fire tank. That's right, an actual fire tank. GMC Nation 88 requested this, so here it is. I haven't done an actual fire tank since years ago. They kind of got left in the dust since the nerf, which I think was in issue 5, because I feel like the ninja power leveling ended after issue 4. I think it was issue 5 that it got. It was the same issue, I believe, that instant healing got nerfed from a toggle to a click power. But since then, nobody really plays fire tanks because they weren't as viable as they were. So the GMC Nation 88 wanted something that would work for PvE in general, as well as farming, but he said farming. So I'm assuming he means like back in the old days where you can just pretty much farm anything. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set this up. I also did a demo on We Have Cake. GM Spooks was able to help me out with all my sets and getting everything unlocked so I can fully demonstrate the build. The demonstration is right here. You guys can now watch along if you want to while you're listening. I did choose the ITF because there is a multitude of types of damage it does towards you. Unfortunately, you do have that horrible defense debuff because that can take down the strongest of tanks really easy when you have negative 100 defense, especially when you go in by yourself. I did set it up to ×4 ×8, so +4 enemies for a full team of 8. I turned the bosses on and I put the AVs to elite bosses so I can get through it smoothly. It wasn't until I was on the last Romulus that I found out that I was actually an arch villain. The settings did not take, so I was fighting a level 54 Romulus arch villain. Did not realize it, but I did kill him. Surprisingly, and I almost called it in. I almost threw in the towel. I was like, there's no way I'm going to defeat his regeneration, but I did. So the fire tank did, not only was it super durable, resistant, the defense is where I wanted it, it actually did enough damage to take down an AV solo. Granted, the whole ITF took me about an hour and a half. That's even with me stopping and taking short little breaks here and there, grabbing a soda, going to the bathroom. I still managed to take it down in an hour and a half. Granted, when I'm with a group, we do it in like 9 minutes. So as always, let's jump over here to our stat window. As you can see, we got 46% in melee defense. That is the focus that I went on with this one because this is a fire tank. You are going to be working up close and personal. That is how this build works. A lot of AoEs, point blank, right where you're at. Burn, burn, burn. And then for our resistance, you can see that we're pretty up there with resistance. Smashing and lethal is capped. Fire is capped. Cold is not capped because I believe Plasma Shield has a resistance for fire, but not cold. So it's a little lopsided. And then your energy negative is at 86%. Great number. I do run reactive defenses, the defense set, which is the scaling resistance damage. That does bring those up to 90 capped. And of course, like many tanks, unfortunately, Toxic and Psionic is going to be your weak points. I did try to get Psionic and Toxic in there for the resistance, but I ended up losing too much of other things that I thought were important, like knockback protection, because fire tanks do not get knockback protection. So let's go over the powers really fast. For Fiery Aura, we have Blazing Aura, Fire Shield, Healing Flames, Temperature Protection, Consume, Plasma Shield, Burn, and Fiery Embrace. And then for Fiery Melee, we have Scorch, Combustion, Taunt, Build-Up, Fire Sword Circle, and Incinerate. As you can see, I did not take Greater Fire Sword. You can take it if you want to. It is a superior damage ability. It would have been great with Romulus, but like I said, this build is primarily for AoEs and taking down big mobs. That's what this build does best. So I focused on anything that was AoEs or benefited in AoE. Your call, whether you want to take Greater Fire Sword, up to you. You can switch that out with Incinerate. Probably not a bad idea. I kind of wish that I had done that now that I think about it, but I ended up taking Incinerate. For your power pool sets, for leaping, I've got Super Jump and Combat Jumping. GMC Nation 88 requested Super Jump. Wasn't set on it, but that's kind of what he preferred. That's fine. I'm going to work that in there, and so we worked Super Jump in there. Obviously, if you're doing this for your fire tank, you don't have to use Super Jump. You can pick whatever you want to. You may have to do some tweaks here and there to make it work, but totally viable. For fighting, I took Boxing, Tough, and Weave, and then Speed, we have Hasten. Here's where you can get your super speed if you wanted to do super speed instead of super jump. Then for leadership, we took maneuvers. Some servers do have different tweaks on how you train your characters. Some have more slots, some have more slot options, some have full slots, and some have inherent powers. So if this is the case and you have a couple more powers to take, this is a good place to take Assault and Tactics. Not a bad idea to take them. And then for the epic pull powers, I took Moo Mastery again. like I said, with something that I'm trying to max out my AoE damage, Moon Mastery is the best one you can take because you get Electrifying Fences, you get Ball Lightning, and Static Discharge, which also does a somewhat like a cone damage, but again, hits multiple enemies at once, and that's what you're going for. For my Incarnates, for Alpha, I took Agility Core Paragon. For Destiny, I took Ageless Core Epiphany. For Interface, I took Reactive Radial Flawless. And then for Hybrid, I took Assault Core Embodiment. Let's go ahead and jump up here to Blazing Aura. So for this one, I took Superior Might of the Tanker. I only took 4. This is one of the ones I had to sacrifice Toxic and Psionic because I was able to squeeze Knockback Protection and another power. I felt like I had to lose it. Obviously, the 6th one is Smashing and Lethal. As you saw earlier, my Smashing and Lethal resistance is way over cap. But I took 4, and that's primarily for 4% damage and 10% enhancement recharge time. And I mainly took it for that recharge time. There are probably other things you can do with this. Like I said, all these guides, totally up to you what you want to do. I took it mainly for that 4% damage as well as the 10% recharge. I felt like that was good enough, but there might be other things you can squeeze in there that might be a little bit better as far as different perks, but that's what I went with. Come down here to Scorch. I took Superior Blistering Cold, all but the proc. And the primary for this one is you get resistance for fire cold, but you also get the 2.5% defense melee, and that's why I took it. Because again, like I said, we are focusing on defense melee. Come down here to Fire Shield. I took Aegis. Now this one I took all but Endurance Recharge. I did get the Psionic Status Resistance because why not? We're trying to max out. We're trying to get as much Toxic and Psionic where we can get it, even though it's not going to make that big a difference because we think we're at 15% Toxic and about 20% Psionic. 6% is not going to make that much of a big deal. But I mean, if it's going to get ability that's just going to throw it in, we might as well take it, right? But the primary reason for this one was 3.13 defense for AoE. I did go back and forth with Unbreakable Guards and Aegis. I did take quite a few Unbreakable Guards because Unbreakable Guards, you get a boost to melee defense. But because I capped it, I tried to use the Aegis for that AoE defense just to squeeze a little bit more in there. So it's a little more rounded out. I do have 2 powers with Aegis. If you want to switch it up a little bit and throw something that's focused on range and the other one to balance out the range AoE, that's entirely up to you. But like I said, my main focus was melee. This was the AoE in this one was pretty much a bonus. Come down here to combat jumping. I have Luck of the Gamblers, and then I have 4 of the shield walls. Obviously, the first one I'm going to get is the 5% resist all, and this one I got the defense endurance and defense endurance recharge. Mainly, I've got, I think, 3 or 4 powers, maybe only 3, that have shield walls. Because shield wall gives you a 4.5 resistance to energy, and there's not many powers you can get. You can get a couple single powers that'll give you 6 or 5, but nothing will stack like shield wall. I can do as many shield walls as I can squeeze in and get 4.5% resistance to energy on all of them. So that's a huge bonus, especially when some builds are very lacking in energy and negative energy resistance. So that's what I took here. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, I got the reactive defenses, scaling resist damage. This is what's going to help cap out all your resistances minus Toxic and Psionic. Come down here to Super Jump. This one I got Blessing of the Zephyr, knockback reduction. This was a must. It'd be nicer to have a super jump in there or kind of boost the super jump. You can do that in other ways, but the knockback reduction was very necessary because, like I said, fire tanks do not get knockback protection. Come down here to Healing Flames. This one is all Unbreakable Guards. I got the 3 recharge ones that have recharge in it, and then I have the max HP. I have the max HP in this one because it doesn't affect my resistance abilities, where I can maximize my resistance output on those. And I just squeeze in that extra HP in here. Why not? It's a tank. More hit points is good. Yes? Yes. I'm glad we agree. Taunt, recharge. You know, this one's another one, a preference one. I prefer range because I feel like range is usually what gets in my way with taunt, because I believe this, usually with my setups, it usually has about a 3-second recharge, which is plenty. Come up here to consume. Now this one I only took 5 of the superior avalanches. I did not take the Aider, but I did take the chance for knockdown. Just why not? There's a couple powers actually you get that chance for knockdown, but we're going to just put it in one. Not that they'll be able to really stack, but why risk it? But for this one, mainly it's for the 5% melee defense, and that is huge. Come down here to Plasma Shield. Now this is 4 Unbreakable Guards. I took everything but the max HP because you can only get it once, and the Endurance Recharge. Mainly, like I said earlier, this one has a 3.13 melee defense that I stacked on several of these resistance powers. Come down here to burn. I took all 6 of the superior gauntleted fists. And this one's a really nice power because not only you get a endurance max increase, you get 6% towards energy and negative energy, outstanding. 16% regeneration, great, again a great bonus. But you get 5% melee defense as well as 6% resistance across the board, and you can't beat that. Come down here to tough. I've got Aegis again. I took everything but the psionic because you can't take it anymore, and again that's 3.13 defense for AoE. This is one of those moments where if you want to, you can switch it out for something else, maybe titanium coating. I don't know, one of those I think does have ranged defense in there. If you want to throw that in there to get a little more balance, entirely up to you. I felt like AoE was a little more necessary than ranged. And then we'll come down here to weave. I got Luck of the Gamblers, and of course the 4 shield walls. In this case, the defense endurance, defense recharge, defense endurance recharge, and defense. And that is mainly for that 4.5 energy resistance. Gotta love that. Build up just 1 recharge combustion. I took all 6 of the obliterations, and that's primarily because not only you get 3% damage buff, not only do you get an accuracy buff and a recharge buff, you also get 3.75% defense for melee. Again, melee is important. Hasten, I took 2 recharges. Maneuvers, exact same setup as weave. You got the Luck of the Gamblers and the same 4 shield walls for that 4.5% energy resistance. Mood Lightning I didn't do anything with. I'm sure there's something you can put in that as far as like a single power. I don't really use Mood Lightning that often because it is a single power and I'm usually focusing on my AoE damage. You can put whatever you want in there. Get creative. And then so now we're going to jump down to Electrifying Fences. I have all but the chance for Immobilize, the proc for Superior Frozen Blast, because 5% AoE is a bonus, and why not? Come down here to Ball Lightning. I took 6 of the Ragnaroks. This is the other power with a knockdown that I didn't take. I don't think it'd be an issue if you threw it in there and combined your knockdowns, and I doubt you're going to stack them to the point that knockdown becomes knockback, but I was like, why risk it? I don't think it's gonna make a big deal, but I ended up not taking it. So in this case, so you're getting the 15% accuracy as well as the 10% recharge, and recharge is important. Come down here to Fire Sword Circle, you have Armageddons, and this one I took all but the proc chance for damage. I've never actually tested these out. If you feel like you're a proc whore and you need a lot of procs, go for it. Why not? Otherwise, I just took the other 5, and again, 15% accuracy, 10% recharge. And then for Hecatombs, same thing. All but the proc. In this, I think this one's negative. Yeah, negative damage proc. You want to add it in. If you feel like it does make a difference and adds a bunch of extra damage, by all means, go for it. It might. I've never tested it out. But this, same thing, 15% accuracy and 10% recharge. Finally, Fiery Embrace, I have 1 recharge. For health, I stuck the Numina Convalescence, the Regeneration Recovery. You know, it's your call if you want to use Miracle Recovery. It does, I believe, do a little bit more recovery per second. I was like, I'll just get the Regeneration Recovery because I'm getting 2. Really, it's up to you. It's your call. And then for stamina, I have the Endurance. But thank you guys for watching. That is the fire tank designed for pretty much anything. But thank you, GMC Nation 88, for suggesting that. That was actually really fun. I have not played with the actual fire tank in a long time. I actually really enjoyed it, so thank you very much. If you have another request for a build, please leave it in the comment below. I will definitely check it out. I'm thinking about doing a series on just a whole bunch of different fire farmers, doing as many as I can, because I'm a firm believer that with the right IO sets, anything can farm. May not be the best, may be very slow, but it can still survive and do the job. Even a defender. I've also considered doing just like as many versions of tanks I can. But the nice part of this fire tank is you can actually solo really well. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate all your support. Please remember to subscribe. It is free. It does help me out. We are almost at our goal. 1,000 subscribers is just around the corner. If you'd like to be notified when my next video comes out, please ring the bell for notifications. You can customize that. Hit the like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm so it gets out to newer people. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all your support. I will see you again soon. Stay golden and take care. Bye-bye.